do to ensure that Zimbabweans in the diaspora return home?
ZANU-PF has already started appealing to the diasporians. Remember that recently Mnangagwa was here in South Africa to appeal to the diasporians to return back to Zimbabwe and invest back in their country. So already ZANU-PF is playing that role. As I said at 7 p.m., this is reminiscent of the Gorbachev era. Remember Mikhail Gorbachev? Yes. Immediately turned his back on the Soviet Union and started implementing Glasnost and Perestroika. That is what Mnangagwa is doing. Those two policies were responsible for the fall of the Soviet Union. He is opening up Zimbabwe to foreign investors and diasporians. So it is highly likely that Zimbabweans will start returning home. But my worry is Zimbabwe is part of the international governance system. Already, the IMF and World Bank has already embraced Mnangagwa. This means that whatever Mnangagwa does as a dictator, the international community will smile at him because capital is prepared to work with anyone, dictator or not. Capital is prepared to work with the military juntas around the world as long as they serve the capital. Global capital is violent. Global capital is ruthless. Global capital is a bully. It will bully anyone.
But is Mnangagwa a dictator, as you call him? Is he a dictator?
If we look at, if we go back to the Blue Ocean document that was uncovered by Professor Jonathan Moyo in the run-up to the removal of Robert Mugabe, it's clear that he was being prepared to be a dictator. He is on top of the military. He's in charge of the military apparatus. It's a security state. You must remember that Zimbabwe is a security state. And the security state all over Africa and across the world is working with capital to unleash the violence of capital. So in Zimbabwe, as we speak, this maiming and killing of black bodies is pretty consistent with what is happening across the globe. You have to go to Syria. You have to come to South Africa, Marikana. This is the violence of capital. Capital doesn't care who you are. If you don't toe the line, you'll be isolated, ostracized, vilified until you toe the line. So Emmerson Mnangagwa has already been embraced by African Union, SADC, the international community. So already he has displaced MDC, because remember MDC came onto the scene to challenge Mugabe's autocratic regime. Tony Blair and George Bush were not fighting ZANU-PF, they were fighting Mugabe. He was the last stumbling block to the total recapture of Africa. Once they removed Mugabe, MDC is rendered redundant. Capital is prepared to work with anyone as
Dr.
long
Sibanda?
As you serve the global capital.
I think I really agree with the fact that capital is ruthless, and Mnangagwa is a dictator, and he's a despot, I think, in my view again. And if you look at the firing of Mnangagwa from ZANU-PF last year, Mnangagwa is the same person when Mjuru was fired who was singing and saying, in ZANU-PF we fire people. We will say so-and-so of so-and-so has been fired. And the same thing happened to him, and he fought. He could not allow himself to be fired. And constitutionally, by the way, Mr. Mugabe, President Mugabe, had the right to fire Mr. Mugabe in terms of Schedule 6 of the Zimbabwean Constitution, because the deputy president serves at the pleasure of the president. But Mnangagwa, showed that, I can fight my own battles, I am my own man, and I do things my own way. If it doesn't go my way, I will take it by force.
The support that has been shown to Emmerson Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF is immense. The people of Zimbabwe have made, basically making a choice. And so far, even without the Mashonaland West results that we are waiting for, ED is in the lead.
I blame Edward Mitole, the father of public relations. He's the one who coined the word propaganda. And propaganda is the enemy. Propaganda is what the media uses to brainwash and deceive the people. So we must look at all these we must look at what is happening in Zimbabwe in context. The fact that Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF appears to gain popularity is pretty consistent with what is happening around the world. So the popularity has also been to be looked at into context.
Gentlemen, let's just hold it there for a moment. You're watching The Globe on SABC News as we continue our rolling coverage of the election results that have been announced, and we are just waiting for the final results of just one province, which is Mashonaland West. We will be joining you back just after a minute. Time now for a quick break. Stay with us.
We've been talking about funeral cover for many years.
One of the things I've noticed, is how different funerals can be across cultures.
But where they're all the same is that everyone wants a dignified funeral.
In my culture, there's a saying, "Ukufa umakoti wemizi yonke."
I like that. Death is a bride of every home. That means death can come to any family.
I chose the clientele funeral plan because it's affordable and suits my budget.
I chose clientele because they are an original. They've been around for a long time, and I know within my family are in good hands.
What is it that you want your family to do with the money when you're gone?
I told my family, I don't want a fancy funeral. They must come there for a cook sister and a sandwich, and then they must use the rest of the money for their future.
SMS dignified to 31043 and we'll call you back. Clientele funeral plans pay out in 24 hours. We will send you 200 Rand airtime when you claim. You can cover up to 13 people on one plan. Plans include grocery, unveiling, and transport benefits. 3 children are covered at no extra cost. What do you want your funeral to be like?
I would like my funeral to be dignified. My family and friends will still be sad, I hope. And my boys will be taken care of. I would like them to be educated because that's the most important thing for me. And that's where clientele comes in.
If you choose our ultimate plan, we will pay all your premiums back. Yes, all your premiums paid back on top of your cover amount.
Dankie clientele.
Clientele.
Clientele is the name I trust.
Clientele funeral.